Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to take a closer look at Nvidia. There's a lot of cool updates that came out today from new price targets, some pretty interesting notes on their Grace Blackwell 200, and some other kind of updates impacting the overall semiconductor market. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
So I'm going to start off with probably the least important Nvidia news, and then we're going to work our way up to bigger and more important news. The first one we're seeing is on April 16th, Nvidia did announce two new AI chips for the kind of workstation market. So they released the A400 and the A1000s, which are GPUs to enhance AI-powered designs and productivity workload. One thing to understand is these GPUs are based on NVIDIA's previous architecture, which is the Ampere architecture, and these are pretty much meant to go into workstations and are very, very entry-level AI chips. So while these are not, in my opinion, anything revolutionary in forms of things that would move the stock price, it just showcases that, hey, NVIDIA probably has a lot of Ampere chips that they're trying to get rid of, and they're trying to recycle as much as possible. One way is to start to releasing maybe these Ampere chips into the workstation market. So I don't think this is going to be a boost to overall revenue, but there's definitely a market if NVIDIA is creating this. All right, so the second bit of news comes from a recent analyst that came out today. Evercore ISI started research coverage on NVIDIA at outperform and a price target of $1,160. The main reason they believe is NVIDIA is not a chip maker, it's an ecosystem play. And that ecosystem is parallel computing. And right now there is this huge shift into the parallel market and parallel computing. And NVIDIA is just right now at the beginning of this phase, so they give this company a price target of 1,160. So that's over $200, almost $250 from where the stock price is at. Let me know what you guys think is NVIDIA's price target by the end of the next 12 months. I definitely would like to hear from you guys to see where you think NVIDIA will be in the future. Before we go any further, we are now on the road to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you all for the crazy support. So if you haven't and are enjoying the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Finally, if you want to support the channel a little bit more, make sure to check out my special offer at fool.com/Jose. Now back to today's episode. All right, so the next article I have here for NVIDIA deals with NVIDIA's Blackwell platform, and more importantly, the GB200. So the GB200 is the Grace Blackwell, which is the CPU and a GPU from NVIDIA all put together. So they gave us a lot of great information. I have some highlighted here of what NVIDIA investors should know. And I am going to be honest, they did give us some information from companies like AMD that I wasn't familiar with. And that's really interesting because I really follow these companies to a T. So I'm happy Trend4 shared this information. So first, they start off with the Grace Hopper 200. So that's NVIDIA's Grace CPU with the Hopper H200 GPU. And they mentioned that this solution is only going to be roughly 5% of NVIDIA's high-end GPU shipments. So they kind of just started off with, hey, look, this Grace Hopper, this CPU and GPU market right now is a small portion of NVIDIA's pie. But they do project, many analysts are projecting that the Grace Blackwell 200 will actually be around 40 to 50% of NVIDIA's high-end GPU market in 2025. So we can see how this GB200, and if you have been watching my previous episodes, you guys know I've been bullish on the GB200 ever since it was announced, because NVIDIA, from their GTC presentation, they really just focused on this product and pretty much nothing else. And we can see analysts are really projecting this to be really, really high. So this is something that we've been following, and we can definitely see that the bullishness was definitely in in the right direction. Now, one thing interesting about this Blackwell platform and the GB200 and the B100 is that this uses a special type of advanced packaging. And if you are familiar with the H100, we know that the H100 was using CoWoS advanced packaging, but that was CoWoS S. Now, this new GB200 and B100 use a more complex and high precision, which is CoWoS L technology. So, this is obviously going to push TSMC to increase the capacity on CoWoS on both S and L. And because of this kind of ramp up from TSMC, we really won't expect much production volumes of the GB200 and the B100 until the fourth quarter of 2024 or the first quarter of 2025. So obviously, this is going to be one that's going to ramp up. And if we listen to their last earnings call, Nvidia did mention that, hey, look, our new platform products are going to be very supply constrained at the beginning, and this is going to be one of the main reasons why. Now, TrendForce also mentions that other suppliers, right? There's other suppliers that provide advanced packaging. Amkor is one of them, Intel's another one. But unfortunately, those other ones are only really focusing right now on CoWoS S. And like I mentioned previously, CoWoS S is pretty much meant for the H platform or the Hopper series. So what might happen in the future is if Nvidia wants to continue to improve its Hopper solutions, and I do believe there's going to continue to be demand for the Hopper platform for some time, Nvidia will be able to get that created advanced package from companies like TSMC, like Amkor, and Intel. So the next thing I wanted to take a closer look at is TrendForce actually showcased some type of GPU solutions that might be coming out in the upcoming years. And right now here we have for NVIDIA, let me just pull up the screen bigger. So for NVIDIA, we have things like the H220, the H200. These are ones we know. And obviously the recently announced B100, GB200, and B200. And those are expected, those Blackwell platforms are expected in the second half of this year, with the B200 expected to really be more in the early 2025. Now, AMD, they recently just announced the MI300A and the MI300X, but TrendForce, and I've been hearing about this from other places as well, believes that AMD will release something like the MI350 later at the end of this year, which might combat against at least the H200 platform from NVIDIA. And then in 2025, at the end of 2025, they're going to announce something like the MI375, which is a CPU and a GPU. But if these are true, like I mentioned, I really haven't heard this from AMD. We're seeing here from TrendForce. If this is true, we can see that NVIDIA is still very, very much in the lead. The final thing I want to take a closer look at is we did get a new update of the CHIPS Act that happened yesterday on April 15th. It does seem like the United States government, based on the investments that Samsung is going to do in Texas, they may receive up to $6.4 billion in direct funding. So it seems like they're building multiple projects in two separate locations, one in Taylor, Texas, and one in Austin, Texas. So it definitely seems like this CHIPS Act is creating a lot of incentives for these companies to come and build chips here in the United States, which I do believe bodes well for the overall semiconductor market and America. So those are all the updates I have today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like I mentioned, that TrendForce article was probably my favorite that I've read in a long time, and I hope you guys enjoyed the information from there. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.